Hey, scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with a Project Life wrap-up spread for March. It is obviously July, and I am just now doing my March Project Life, so I'm kind of hacking it together here, kind of at the point now where I'm like, I remember a lot of this, but I don't really have too many details going on. So I'm using my Ali Edwards story kits, stories by the month kits. Just kind of making it simple on myself. So I'm pulling all of these cards are from those kits, and all of these embellishments are from those kits. And I'm just going to keep this layout really simple because basically because A, I didn't really know what was going on anymore, and B, because I just wanted to get it done. And sometimes you just have to keep things simple, get it done, and move on, right? So I'm looking through all of the chipboard at this point. I've pulled out embellishments that might work. And so I'm kind of just seeing what I can make work with these photos. So March, I had a story journal, so I didn't have a lot of photos left over after that. And if you are looking for my story journals on this page, I'm going to do one for July. I turned 35 on July 31st, so July is going to be sort of a big month for me. Well, I mean, probably not as far as what I'm doing, but you know, it's my last month of 34, and 35 seems kind of like a big deal, so I'm definitely going to do a story journal for July. But anyway, this is what's left over after I've told my story journal stories. And so at the top there, the top left, Finn had an asthmatic episode. It's the first one he's had in a few years. So I had to document that, some photos of him doing his breathing treatments, and in the doctor's office. Luckily, I've been advocating for him for years and years now, and I know what he needs and what he doesn't need, because often, sorry about the train, often doctors want to admit him to the hospital because his oxygen gets very low, but I know that all he needs is a steroid shot, so that's what we went and had, and he was fine after that. Below that, I finally got to meet a friend of mine. Her name is also Tracy, that I have known since 2007, I believe, through the scrapbooking world, but we've never been in the same place geographically, since she lives in Florida. But since I moved to Tennessee, Tennessee is very close to Florida, and she was up here for an event, so I got to see her, which was really cool. We had lunch together. Underneath that is a photo of Carson going to a Dungeons and Dragons event at one of our local game places, and so I paired that with the card that says things that make you you. And then next to that is Patrick working. I don't often get to see him at work because he travels a lot and he's often very far away, but I happened to be able to see him that day, so I took a picture of him at work. On the right hand side is a photo of Finn being in bed with me. We each have our respective screens, but he's kind of spending some time with me. PJs all day seemed appropriate. Then next to that is a photo of Joe and Karsten being the same height. Joe gained 6 or 7 inches in 6 months and is now, well, actually now I think he might be a little bit taller than Karsten, but at the time he had hit Karsten's height. So I put the Things Change sticker on there, and I'm going to tell the story about him gaining so much height in just 6 months. And then underneath that is a selfie paired with my March details card, which I'm going to kind of have to wing since it's so far away. And then last but not least, a text message exchange between Joe and I about a teacher fail that he had, a substitute teacher fail, where I ended up having to call the principal about. And then a photo of Finn with that giant pink Homer Simpson donut that we brought home from Myrtle Beach, looking like he's going to eat the whole thing, but I cut it into pieces like I would a cake, and we all shared it. So that was kind of a wrap-up of the photos that I had left for that month. So I'm just kind of going through, adding stamps and stickers and wood veneer and cork here and there, and I thought that that Just Breathe was perfect for an asthmatic episode. So that's going to go with the photo up there of Finn and I next to that inhale, exhale. And I added a little spot on the other photo where it says Life Right Now. I stamped that on the back of one of the journaling blocks, and I'm going to put the story on there. I cut that Just Breathe so I could put it into 2 layers so it would fit on that photo. There we go. A little heart. Perfect. Trying to use up some of this excess stuff that I have piling up. I didn't scrapbook for a couple months, and so I have some product piling up, and I have definitely have layouts piling up. I have probably 20 layouts that I need to do to catch up, but everything is in pockets. All the photos are printed and organized and in my album. I just need to, do the decorating part of it. So that's good. That's how I kind of stay caught up. If I had not been printing along the way and making sure that everything stayed organized and knowing how I wanted to attack these things eventually when I got back to scrapbooking, then it would be a lot more overwhelming at this point and I would not know where to start. So that's a big tip I have for not staying caught up, because are we ever really caught up with our scrapbooking, but really for staying not overwhelmed and organized so that, we can come back and approach the layouts that we want to do when we have time. We don't have to worry about, what photos should I print, where should I start. I can start anywhere I want. I can do any layout I want because everything is organized, and I can just pick whatever is calling to me and speaking to me in that moment. So that is one way that I've learned that I need to keep myself organized even when I'm not feeling like scrapbooking. So I'm going to use the teal Catherine Pooler ink, and I'm going to stamp this today on the back of one of those journaling blocks again. There we go. I stamped 2 just to see which one came out better. I'm going to cut one of them out, and I'm going to put it on that photo of Finn up there in the top left, or in the top corner of the second page. Now these 2 layouts are actually going back to back. They are not going side by side, even though I have them side by side right here. The way it worked out in my album is that they ended up being back to back, and that's fine, but I wanted them to coordinate anyway, even though they don't necessarily go together perfectly. I just wanted to make sure that they coordinated, so you kind of still got the feeling that they go together. Another heart, because you can never have too many hearts on a Project Life spread. Decided not to add it there though. I'm going to add it here instead. Just kind of digging through my stamps and things like that. This layout actually was pretty hard for me to put together. I don't know if it was because of all of the disparate stories, or I just didn't have a lot of product that worked really well for what I was doing, or maybe I was just uninspired, which is probably what it was. I was probably just uninspired at the moment, but I had a hard time pulling this one together. So I'm going to pull out all of these magnetic, they're not actually magnetic, but they're supposed to be like magnetic poetry. And I found a phrase to put on this, this card with the text. Something that'll work. One thing I wish is that these magnetic poetry, I wish they had come on a sheet so that I didn't have to pull everything out all of the time. They should have come on a sheet like the rest of the chipboard. Would have been much more helpful. But it is what it is, and I still pull them out every time anyway. I'm just about done here. I'm going to add in all of my journaling. and call it good. This one's in the books, and that is all that matters. I need to tackle all of my old Project Life pages before I forget all of the stories. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you, and I will see you next time. Thank you.